A quick update on the 190E Pro Max. The project is still ongoing. We hit a snag. We ordered for an ECU, and it got to Nigeria, but never got to us. So we don't even know where it got stuck. Maybe it's night post, maybe it's customs. Who knows? Well, Nigeria happened to us, but we have to move on. So we come up with our own local solution. So I'm going to go inside now to explain what's happening. So after many months of waiting for the ECU to arrive, and it never did, we already knew that Nigeria happened to us, and well, we decided that we should go to Fireban Maker Lab, and so I decided to design an ECU for the engine. So the ECU, engine control unit, is the brain of the engine. It tells it how much fuel to inject, when to ignite the fuel mixture, and performs all sorts of things like switching on the fuel pump, switching on the cooling fan, and all sorts of things. So we definitely need a very good one. So what I've done is I've created one, and I'm using the reference design for Rusefi, which is the ECU we ordered that did not arrive. So, and we have named this one the Ghetto Rusefi. So here is the PCB design. Here is the PCB design. This is the schematic design. I'm using a keycard to design it. Is the injector driver, which we have we have 8 on it, 4 for the regular injectors, 2 for staged injection, and then I'm dedicating 2 for one for fan, one for the fuel pump control. And then we have analog inputs used for the clutch position sensors, the acceleration pedal sensor, the coolant temperature sensor, the intake air temperature sensor. Then we have the crank trigger and cam trigger. More about the crank trigger later on. So, and then we also have the ignition outputs, of which we are using an optocoupler. This isolates the high voltage of the coils away from the low voltage of the microcontroller. So subsequently, after designing all this, it was laid out into a PCB, and this is the PCB here. Let me switch to the 3D view. So this is a 3D view of the PCB, what it's supposed to look like when it's done. Let me retrace it. So it looks a little bit prettier. So this is what it's meant to look like. Although the outcome eventually did not totally look like that. There is supposed to be an inversion that did not take place, but we got it to work. So this is what we have right now. And we've tested the board. The board is working fine. The STM32 has been loaded with the Rusefi F407 VGT6 firmware. So we already have that. About the crankshaft sensor, the M11 uses VR, variable reluctance crankshaft sensor. The other type is the all effect crankshaft sensor, which I tried to graft on the M111, but it did not work. So that's why the engine has not even started. It sputtered, tried to start, but because the sensor was not designed for the wheel, the teeth inside the wheel inside the engine, we couldn't make it work with the all effect type of sensor. So I'm going to revert back to the VR sensor that originally came with the engine, and then I'll use a comparator to create a zero. The VR creates an alternating current, while all creates a square wave digital signal 1 and 0 for every teeth that passes through it. But since the VR is AC, we need to convert it to the binary format, just like pulses, 0, 5 volts, 0, 5 volts. So we're going to use that comparator to do that. So once that is done, the engine will start definitely, because it's already showing signs of life. So, and then good news also, I contacted the people at Rusefi. They refunded, even though it's not their fault. They shipped when they were supposed to ship. It got into Nigeria and we couldn't find it anymore. So, but they refunded, and I'm going to, I've already reordered, and I'm going to use a forwarder to get the ECU over here. So in a couple of weeks, I'm sure we will have the Rusefi. But in the meantime, we'll play with this one to get the engine started so that we can work on the exhaust and all sorts of things that we cannot do while the car is sitting right there with us. So that's the update of what is happening. Definitely more to come from the 190E Pro Max. It's definitely going to be a very sweet project once it is done. We can already see signs of that. Definitely going to be a very fast vehicle with lots and lots of technological innovation planned. I still have the transmission controller I designed to put on the 722.6. That one is still there. And definitely all lots of things. We'll be using ESP32 S3, ESP32 P4, and then the ESP32 S31 that just came out. We'll be using that. The light, we'll be using Xenon with we'll be modifying the headlamps. We'll be putting projectors, still using the stock housing. The rear lights, we'll be using LEDs, which will use addressable LEDs. We'll have a custom lighting patterns at the back. So still lots and lots and lots of things to come from us on the 190E Pro Max. So just stay tuned. It's taking a little bit more time than anticipated, but definitely it's gonna kick. The pace is gonna kick up once the engine starts. So thank you very much. Stay tuned. You can follow us for updates, which will be coming a little bit closer as time goes on. So bye bye.